Welcome to our TechSphere podcast. Today we're diving deep into React 19 release candidate. Now we've got insights straight from the React team themselves, so thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share with friends.
Yeah, spread the React love.
Exactly. Now, I guess before we get started, you might be wondering, what even is a release candidate? Well, it's basically like the final draft before the official launch.
Yeah, think of it like a sneak peek.
Right, a sneak peek, a chance for developers to test things out, make sure everything is running smoothly before it goes live to the public.
Exactly. It's like the last quality check.
Okay, cool. So, and trust me, this isn't just some minor tweak, React 19. It's bringing some seriously groundbreaking changes, stuff that's going to change how we build user interfaces.
Yeah, I think game changer is the right word here.
Yeah, I think so too.
React is already one of the most popular JavaScript libraries out there, so the anticipation for this release has been huge. Developers are really eager to get their hands on it.
Absolutely. So, let's dive into some of the biggest highlights. I don't know about you, but you know how frustrating it is to deal with those loading states and errors and optimistic updates in your React app.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like a constant juggling act.
It's a pain point, I think, for pretty much every React developer.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, get this. React 19 introduces this awesome new feature called Actions.
What?
It's going to make life so much easier. Imagine like writing async functions right within your transitions and then having React just take care of all that messy state management automatically.
It sounds amazing. No more tangled code, no more headaches. It's like a real game changer in terms of simplifying asynchronous operations.
Yeah, sure.
And the React team actually shared some code examples in their blog post. And the difference between the old way and the new Actions way is night and day.
Yeah.
It's so much cleaner and more intuitive.
There's so much more readable, I think.
Yes.
And it's not just about cleaner code. Actions handle things like form submissions completely automatically, even resetting the form after a successful submission.
Right, so you don't have to worry about all that manual stuff.
Exactly. It really frees up developers to focus on like the important logic instead of getting bogged down in all those tedious housekeeping tasks.
Exactly. It's all about developer efficiency.
Yes.
And speaking of making things easier, remember that use optimistic hook we saw in the Canary release?
Oh, yeah.
The one that lets you show users instant feedback even before the data is fully updated.
Yeah.
Well, it's officially part of React 19 now.
That one blew my mind when I first saw it. It's like giving your users superpowers.
You're right.
It's so cool.
Well, it's not quite superpowers, but it does create a much smoother and more responsive user experience.
Oh,
like, imagine you're updating a profile on a website. Instead of staring at a loading spinner for ages, with Use Optimistic, you can instantly see your changes reflected on the screen. Even if the actual data is still being updated in the background, it feels so much faster and more seamless.
So much better. It's all about that instant gratification.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Instant feedback.
While we're on the topic of user experience, let's talk about data fetching. You know how sometimes you need to read resources right in your render function, like when you're fetching comments for a post, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
And traditionally, that's been a bit of a challenge in React.
Yeah, for sure.
But with React 19, we've got a new tool in our arsenal, the Use API.
Oh, yeah. This one is super interesting. What's so special about it?
Well, the Use API, it lets you read promises and even context conditionally right inside your render function. It's incredibly flexible and powerful.
Okay.
Imagine being able to fetch those comments, like you said, seamlessly without interrupting the flow of your application.
Wow.
It makes data fetching so much smoother and more intuitive.
Yeah, the example they gave in the blog post about fetching comments, it really brought it home for me. You can just see how much cleaner and more elegant the code becomes.
Yeah.
With the Use API. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it's much more readable and maintainable.
Okay. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about server components. This is another area where React 19 is making big waves.
Absolutely. Server components have been one of the most talked about features in the React world. And in React 19, they're finally considered stable.
Okay.
Which means, libraries that use them can officially support React 19, which paves the way for much wider adoption.
Gotcha. I'm still wrapping my head around server components, to be honest. Can you break it down for me? Like, what's the big deal?
Sure. So imagine building a complex web application
Okay.
where a lot of the heavy lifting, like data fetching and rendering,
Yeah.
can be done on the server side. That's the basic idea behind server components. By moving these tasks to the server, you can significantly improve the performance and initial loading speed of your application. And with React 19, server components are more powerful and accessible than ever before.
So it's all about making complex apps faster and more efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to server components. There's so much potential there, and I think we're only just scratching the surface of what's possible with this new architecture.
Well, I'm definitely intrigued. I'll have to dive deeper into server components and see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring.
Okay. While we're talking about performance, we can't forget about those like little details that can make a big difference. Like, did you know React 19 introduces native support for rendering document metadata tags?
Yeah, that's a really nice addition.
I know, right?
Managing those title, link, and meta tags is now much simpler and more consistent across different rendering environments. It's a small change, but
Yeah.
it makes a big difference for developers who care about SEO and accessibility.
It's all about streamlining those essential elements.
Exactly.
Right.
Making things easier for developers.
And speaking of streamlining, style sheet management just got a whole lot easier in React 19 too.
Oh, definitely.
Uh,
Remember those days of struggling to get your style sheets to load in the correct order?
yeah.
React 19 solves that headache by letting you specify the precedence of your style sheets.
Okay.
No more style sheet chaos.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
It is. It's a simple but elegant solution. That makes working with complex CSS hierarchies so much easier.
That's music to my ears. CSS can be a real beast sometimes.
Yeah, it can be
So-
tricky.
When we're talking about things that used to be a pain, what about those async scripts? The ones that used to load and execute multiple times, creating all sorts of performance bottlenecks.
Ah, yes. The days of async script mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thankfully, React 19 has come to the rescue there too.
Thank goodness.
React 19 now intelligently deduplicates async scripts, so they only load and execute once, no matter how many components use them.
Okay.
This prevents redundant loading and execution, leading to faster and more efficient applications.
It's amazing how much thought and care the React team has put into optimizing performance in React 19.
Yeah.
They've really addressed some long-standing pain points for developers.
Absolutely. And it's not just about making things faster, it's also about making React more robust, more reliable,
Yeah.
and more enjoyable to work with.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to even more exciting features in part 2, let's just quickly recap what we've learned so far. We talked about actions, the use optimistic hook, the use API, server components, metadata tags, style sheet precedence, and async script deduplication.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know, right? It's a lot to cover in just one part.
Yeah.
But trust me, there's even more to come. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive into even more groundbreaking features. A React 19 release candidate. We'll be right back after a short break.
Can't wait. All right, we're back, ready to dive into even more awesome features of React 19 release candidate.
Absolutely. So let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about all those performance improvements in React 19, but it's not just about speed, right? They've also made some big strides in terms of compatibility, especially when it comes to like third-party scripts and browser extensions.
Yeah, that's a really important point.
Yeah.
React 19 has a much more robust hydration process. It can gracefully handle those like unexpected elements that third-party scripts or extensions sometimes throw into the mix.
Right. Like it's like React 19 is saying, hey, we get it. The real world is messy. We're not going to freak out if a few extra things show up in the DOM.
Exactly. It's all about making React more resilient and adaptable to real-world scenarios. And this improved hydration process, it means fewer hydration mismatches and a much smoother rendering experience for users, even when dealing with those pesky third-party tools.
It's like React 19 has a built-in immune system to fight off those unexpected DOM invaders.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
I like that.
While we're on the topic of compatibility, we have to mention the improved support for custom elements.
Oh, yeah. Custom elements.
React 19 now fully embraces custom elements, passing all the tests on custom elements everywhere.
Custom elements everywhere. Okay, I've heard whispers of this mythical land. What does it all mean?
Well, basically it means that developers can now seamlessly integrate custom elements into their React applications without any major headaches.
Okay.
It's a huge win for developers who want to leverage the power and flexibility of custom elements while still enjoying the benefits of the React ecosystem.
So this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for creating like unique and interactive user experiences.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
And it's a testament to React's commitment to staying current and evolving with the web platform as a whole.
That's awesome. Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about error handling, because let's face it, no matter how good we are at coding, errors happen.
Yeah, errors are inevitable. And when they do, we want to be able to handle them gracefully and effectively.
Absolutely.
And React 19 introduces some major improvements to error handling that are going to make developers' lives a lot easier.
Like what? Give me the good stuff.
Well, for one, they've streamlined error reporting to eliminate those annoying duplicate error messages.
Oh, thank goodness.
Remember those days when you'd get bombarded with multiple errors for a single issue?
Ugh, yeah. It was a nightmare. Like trying to find a needle in a haystack of error messages.
Exactly. Well, those days are gone.
Good riddance.
React 19 provides a single consolidated error message. With all the necessary information, it's much easier to identify and fix problems quickly.
And less overwhelming.
Exactly.
Didn't they also introduce some new options for like handling errors? I vaguely remember something about that.
They did. In addition to the existing onrecoverable error option, React 19 now offers on-caught error and on-uncaught error. These new options, they give developers much more granular control over how errors are handled throughout their applications.
So it's like having a whole toolbox full of error handling gadgets.
Exactly. It empowers developers to create more robust and resilient applications.
Cool.
And on top of all that, React 19 introduces a powerful new feature called resource preloading.
Resource preloading.
That sounds intriguing.
Tell me more.
Well, it's all about optimizing for speed.
Sure.
React 19 introduces a set of APIs, prenet, preload, prefetch DNS, and preconnect, that allow developers to fine-tune how resources are loaded.
So it's like giving your application a head start in the race to load all those essential assets.
Exactly. For example, you can prefetch DNS information for external domains, or preconnect to hosts that you know you'll need to access.
Okay.
This can shave precious milliseconds off your loading times.
And milliseconds matter when it comes to user experience, right?
Absolutely.
Especially in today's fast-paced digital world.
Yeah, users have very little patience these days. And by preloading resources like fonts and style sheets, you can ensure that they're readily available when needed, preventing those frustrating delays that can impact user experience.
Gotcha. So it's all about giving developers the tools they need to create blazing fast applications that deliver an exceptional user experience.
Precisely.
Awesome.
And I think that's one of the key takeaways. From everything we've discussed about React 19, it's clear that the React team has been laser focused on performance, compatibility, error handling, and developer experience. They've really thought of everything.
It's amazing to see how much progress they've made with this release. I'm really excited to see how React 19 will shape the future of front-end development.
Me too.
Yeah.
And remember, this is just the release candidate. There's still time for developers to test drive React 19, provide feedback to the React team, and get their applications ready for the official launch.
Yeah, it's like a sneak peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Giving developers a chance to get familiar with all the changes.
Yeah.
And contribute to the final product.
Exactly. So if you're a React developer, I highly encourage you to head over to the React blog, check out the upgrade guide, and start experimenting with all these amazing new features.
Yeah, and be sure to share your feedback with the React team. Your input can help shape the future of this incredible library.
That's the beauty of open source. It's a collaborative effort that benefits from the insights and contributions of the entire community.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
I think we've covered just about everything there is to cover about React 19 release candidate.
Yeah.
We've talked about everything from the big game-changing features to those small but important details that make React 19 so enjoyable to work with.
Yeah, it's been a pretty comprehensive deep dive.
It has. But, most importantly, I think we've seen how React 19 is shaping the future of front-end development, making it easier, faster.
Yeah.
And more enjoyable for developers to create those amazing user experiences.
Absolutely. And, I think React 19, it really is a testament to the hard work and dedication of the React team and the entire React community.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's an exciting time to be a React developer, that's for sure.
Yeah, the future of front-end development is looking bright.
Very bright. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired right now to go build something awesome.
Me too. React 19 gives us so many powerful tools and features to create truly amazing user experiences.
Absolutely. And Remember, if you want to learn more about React 19 Release Candidate, head over to the React blog and check out that upgrade guide. There's a ton of great information there, including code examples, in-depth explanations, and even like a handy FAQ section.
Yeah, it's a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to dive deeper into the nuts and bolts of React 19.
Absolutely. So I guess that wraps up our deep dive into React 19 Release Candidate.
It does.
It's been an amazing journey exploring all these new features and improvements.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
Oh, hey, thank you for sharing your expertise and insights. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning into TechSphere.
Until next time, happy coding.